Okay. Something else I came across in my scriptural readings. Something that a lot of people always take out of context, especially your Calvinists, which I am totally against. I'm against TULIP. I'm against the perseverance of the saints. I'm against all that mess. Because if the Calvinists are right, then Romans 11:16 is null and void. Because Paul makes this argument. I'm gonna go there really quick. I'm gonna give you some I'm just gonna build the thing up real quick, okay? Why don't you go to Romans 11 real quick? I want you to notice something. I think it's 11:6, excuse me. 11:16, 11:6. Let's look at this. Romans 11:6 says this, and if by grace, then no more of works, otherwise grace is no more grace, but if it be of works, then it is no more of grace, otherwise work is no more work. In other words, it's either by grace or it's by works. You cannot have both of them in the same deal with salvation contexts. Robert, why are you hammering this all the time about grace versus works? Because I used to believe certain things, and I want to show certain things to people so they can understand it, just like I had to understand it. Let me give you a little bit of background of what I've been through. Being a teenager, growing up in a non-Christian home, I was tossed with every wind of doctrine. I was listening to John MacArthur one day. I was listening to Joyce Myers the other day. I was listening to Joel Osteen that next day. I was listening to all these different people out there, and I had no spiritual discernment whatsoever what truth was. And I look at people stuck in the same situation, and I'm thinking, that's why I talk about this. Practical, yes, but it's important. It's very important. And I disagree with a lot of my brethren when they say, well, if you do thus, you're really not saved. A lot of fundamentalists say stuff like that. I disagree with that stuff also. I'm not a judgmental person about salvation. Salvation is through grace. It's grace alone through faith alone. Plain and simple. It's not a works. And I want to get that across very well. Now, I'm going to show you a scripture that the Calvinists love to use to say, well, see, if they're really saved, then they would persevere through whatever. Okay, sure. They want to take 1 John 2:19. They went out from us, but they were not of us. But they had been of us. They would have no doubt have continued with us, but they went out, and they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. Excuse me. You can take the scripture out of context to support the perseverance of the saints. That's the last point of TULIP. Which they also want to take Matthew 24:13 also and say they will endure to the end. We'll get to that another day. But by the way, that has to do with the tribulation that's fixing to come. That has nothing to do with you or I. That has to do with the Jew that's going through the tribulation. We're not going to go through that. Which once I get more study in that thing, I'll talk about it. But yeah, you could take the scripture out of context in 1 John 2:19. You could certainly support that, but look at who he's talking about. Let's look at verse 23. Puts this in context. Whosoever denieth the Son, the same hath not the Father, but that acknowledgeth the Son hath the Father also. What this is dealing with is someone denying the deity of Christ. If you deny the deity of Christ, then yes, you are lost. Now I understand getting saved. You don't understand all this stuff. But when you defy the book and say, well, Jesus was not God, you're not saved. If Jesus was not God, then our salvation would be null and void. We'd be men of all most miserable, was what Paul said. Because Jesus has got to be God. Jesus is the I am. The I am that I am. The self-existent one. That's why Jehovah's Witnesses are not saved. That's why Mormons aren't saved. That's why all these different cults are not saved, because they deny the very deity of Christ. That's what this is talking about. This is not talking about a Christian falling into sin. This is not talking about someone who has given up for a while. This is talking about someone who's flat out denying the deity of Christ. Which, like I said, Jesus is God. Jesus was God. Jesus will always be God. He's the one who created this thing. By Him and for Him are all things created, is what Colossians says. Matter of fact, let's go over there real quick. I know, random thought, and I'm kind of scrambling around, but I just want to hit this thing home, y'all. I want to make sure that people understand. Colossians chapter 1, I think it is. And He is before all things, verse 17, and He is before all things, and by Him all things consist, and He is the head of the body. Okay, let me back up here. Verse 16, look at verse 16. For Him and by Him were all things created that are in heaven, that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones, dominions, principalities, powers. All things were created by Him and for Him. And verse 17 says this, and He is before all things, and by Him all things consist. Science calls these atoms. What atoms are basically are God's power holding everything together. I won't go into why I don't believe half scientific terminology, because, I won't go into that, but I'll very briefly say this. They're trying to deny the presence of God by trying to replace, things like, they use words like matter, which is communistic. I don't believe in it. They use words like atoms, which I don't believe. I don't know how to feel about that. It's the power of God that holds things together. It's not matter. I don't believe in that word matter. Because matter is a communistic terminology. Look it up. It's a communistic terminology to deny the existence of God. So anyways, Jesus is God. He's the one who created all things, and the only reason why we're held together, the only reason why this world is held together is because of Him. He's the creator. So anyways, my point is this. Once again, back to my original point. Do not take Scripture out of context to try to support your theology. If you have to take something out of context to support your theology, maybe you're wrong, and maybe you're wrong. The book is always going to be right. Quit taking stuff out of context. I cannot stress this enough. That's why I do these kind of videos, so I can show people this is what it actually says. It's not about perseverance of the saints. It's not about enduring to the end. It's about knowing that Jesus is God, is what this specific scripture is talking about in 1 John. Anyways, I hope that helps. And hope y'all are doing okay out there. And y'all take care, and God bless.